I'm Esther.
And I'm Susie. And this is Limited Time Only.
Brief, a pick-me-up in shorter podcast form.
Hello, Susie.
Hello, Esther Stanford. It is actually sunny where I am today.
It's sunny where I am.
Got my eye on that beach.
Oh, God, me too. Well, you can see it from your window now, can't you?
I can, although I'm at the other side of the house today. I'm looking at an apple tree and a dead tree at the bottom of the garden.
It's the circle of life.
It is. It's just all there in my garden. And some soggy shoes hanging from a washing line. I mean, yeah, the two things hanging from washing lines that I can see. In the neighbour's garden, there's an umbrella. What? And in our garden, there's a bunch of shoes. I mean,
these are very bizarre things to hang from washing lines.
I know. Maybe I should start hanging weird things from washing lines. That could be my new Instagram account. Weird things from washing lines with Susie Riddell.
Do you know what? That would do so well.
It really would.
I bet you'd make a fortune.
Every odd idea that we ever have, we should just do.
Yes. I mean, how many hours are in the day, though? That's the only problem.
This was an odd idea, and we're doing it.
It was an odd idea. Because, to be honest, I have I have about 10 ideas a minute. So
yes, me too.
I'd probably have to filter myself a little bit. Talking about things hanging from things, it makes me think of your brother. Will you tell a story about your brother?
Sounds rather sinister.
It's one of the funniest stories I've ever heard.
Yes, I will. So, this was when we were in our old house. This must be 5-6 years ago now. And my brother, who is 2.5 years younger than me and 2.5 foot taller, is a lorry driver. He drives Arctics up and down the country, which I always find incredibly impressive.
Long distance, Clara.
And yeah, I mean, these enormous vehicles. Very good driver, but works incredibly hard and really antisocial hours. Almost as antisocial as me recording an audiobook till 4 a.m, but more dangerous. And he went on a kind of parachute, course with his friend, just for fun. Or was it skydiving? Anyway, one or the other. Have you skydived, Esther?
No.
You never skydived?
I'd be one of those buggers whose parachute didn't open. I'd just splat.
Oh, no. Well, I did. I skydived when I was 23. My mother bought me this for my birthday.
Was she trying to tell you something? Was she angry with you at the time?
Right, get her up there. Cut the cord. Because I'd wanted to do it when I was travelling around Australia and never did. So she actually bought this for my birthday. And it was so... I mean, I'm still buzzing from it now, and it's like 25 years later. Absolutely incredible and terrifying. I kind of would like to do it again, but I'm like 200% more scared now.
That's the problem with getting older, isn't it? You just become sort of more fearless, but also more frightened. It's like a weird thing.
Well, it's sad because that is so interesting. And can you please write that down? Because I think we should discuss that in greater length.
More fearless and more frightened.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. And makes me think of lots of things. But let's get back to the skydiving. So I'd done it, so I know how exciting it is. Chris went and did this. He loved it and decided that he was going to become a skydive instructor.
Yes.
After it's like me going ice skating and deciding I'm going to represent Great Britain at the Olympics. It's not going to happen. And so he signed up to do a course to learn how to parachute. So I think originally he did a tandem, which to me is all I would go for. I would never want to jump out of a plane on my own unless it was absolutely necessary. So, you're strapped to somebody else. They're the expert. They're probably an ex-Marine or something. They know what they're doing. They do all the stuff. You just hang there screaming. So he'd signed up to do a parachute course to learn how to do it himself. So he did the first day. It was a 2-day course, just in the office, they're kind of buildings, and it's quite mathematical, and it's like you do this, and this is how you crouch, and this is when you pull the cord, and blah 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 blah. And then the next day he was to jump out of the plane. Now, prior to this, I'd got wind that he was going to do this course, and he was planning to become an instructor.
Yes.
Which requires, by the way, you need about 5,000 hours of jumps before you are allowed to instruct anybody.
Wow.
Can you imagine how long that would take and how much money that would cost to do that? He's got 2 kids, and he's got this full-time job. He doesn't earn tons of money. I mean, who does? I don't know anybody who does. But I was like, Chris, it's just not realistic. Go and do the course, but don't, it's kind of not realistic to think like this. And he was like, he was getting really cross with me. And he said, oh, for goodness sake, it's just jumping a course. It's not life or death. And I was like, Chris, you're jumping out of a plane. It very well could be. And that, everybody, is a premonition into the future of this story. So basically, he then did his day in the office, fine, and then he did the jump. Now, my brother was in the Sea Cadets for a long time when he was a kid, and every time they did parade, he would black out because they'd be standing for absolutely ages. And I don't know whether it's because he's really tall, I don't know, but he would faint quite frequently. It faints at least 3 times.
Yes.
After sort of standing for long periods of time. So he jumped. He did the jump. He jumped out the plane. It's all going very well, and then he pulls the cord to release the parachute, and he blacks out.
Oh my God!
So there's nothing. So he's pulled the cord, and somehow the change in air pressure, the sudden jolt, whatever it was, makes him black out, and then when he wakes, he is suspended from a telegraph pole by his parachute. He's hanging there, and there's a woman looking up at him from the ground. And she says, hello. And he apparently said, hello. And then they had to call. So basically, he's hanging there, and so out comes the farmer, whose field it is, the fire brigade, the ambulance,
God.
the police, the people who run the parachute jumping school, various other people, and he's just, and it's the only thing that's wrong. He has to go to hospital, obviously. The only thing that was wrong with him was this bruising around his kind of groin area, which could have been very worrying. But you think about all the ways he could have died.
God,
there are myriad ways.
Yeah.
That could have ended so badly, but he ended up hanging suspended from a telegraph pole. I wish someone had videoed it. I mean, I just don't know.
I mean, luck was on his side, wasn't it? Bloody hell!
God, so much. So obviously he was, it was cut down, taken down. Cherry picker gets him on the ground and everything, and so his nickname from then on. I mean, not that he's really seen these people again, because he is actually now on the parachute offenders register.
What?
He's not allowed to jump out
There's
of
a parachute offenders.
I mean, I don't think that's actually the phrase they use. He can't. He's not allowed to parachute or skydive ever again.
Oh my
Because he blacked
God!
out, and that they called him Sparky. So I didn't find out about this because he didn't tell me this.
No, embarrassed.
And so I found out from my mum, I think, who told me days afterwards, and I was so cross with him, but also in hysterics. So I still can't. I mean, it's unbelievable, but it's true, and absolutely incredible. I mean, he should be telling this story. He should be on podcast himself telling this story.
I think of Del Boy going off the cliff. It's if you wrote that in a film or a play or a television series, people wouldn't believe it, or they'd say that would never happen in real life. I mean, what was your mum like? Was she?
Well, she didn't know, because the thing is, he got to the hospital and he rang my dad, which I always thought was a really bizarre choice of person to ring. Because if anyone's going to be like, oh, for Christ's sake, Christopher, what the fuck do you think you're doing? It's going to be my dad. But he rang my dad and stepmom, and I think he must have rung his wife.
Yes.
I don't know which order he rang them in. Anyway, his wife went to pick him up. I don't think my mum knew about it.
But
for a
when
few
she
days.
told you, what did she say? Was she upset?
I think she was like, well, about that. I said something. I was like, oh God, is Chris still going to do this bloody, skydiving malarkey? And she was like, well, about that. Because she knew I was so angry with him.
Yes.
For the idea that he was going to be wasting his time and money and all this stuff, on this sort of pipe dream. And then the fact that he'd gone, it's not life or death. and then he fucking blacked out and ended up suspended from a bloody telegraph. You couldn't make it up. You
couldn't make it up. It is so funny, but also how lucky is Chris? I mean, that is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely mad. So that's another thing that puts me off skydiving.
Yeah. Well, yes, I won't go into the story I know about someone, my neighbour who skydived. We won't go into that story because
okay.
Yeah, it is weird, isn't it? You do. I think we will explore that more in another episode. But yeah, more fearless.
I'll have to tell it again.
Yet more frightened. As you get a bit older, there are certain things I will do without and just think, just fuck it, let's do it. And there are other things like, no, wouldn't go near that with a barge.
But I think it's more, risk taking as in, let's just have a go, let's just try that idea or say that thing. Yeah. But rather than physically, I mean, I'm actually nervous. I'm nervous to jump. Not. I mean, that sounds. I'm not completely, but I'm quite nervous to double jump with both legs off the ground because of injuring my calf muscle that time. Yeah. I get a bit scared. And just being a bit less, stable on my feet. I'm not good. I'm quite wobbly sometimes. Yeah. I really do need to follow Michael Mosley, God rest his soul, his advice about standing on one leg when you're cleaning your teeth.
Yes.
And practicing that balance, because I do think to myself, oh God, I'm just the sort if I'm wobbling now, what am I going to be like when I'm 75, 80?
I do in the morning.
Just be on the floor all the time.
In the morning, I get out of bed and I go into the bathroom and I have a wee, obviously. And then I do 100 jumps. I mean, what? Not like really high with my legs right up. I do 100 little jumps and then I do 20 squats.
You constantly surprise me, Esther. There's so many little tidbits about your existence that I have no idea about. You're a fascinating person.
I do it because I follow a woman on Instagram called Karina Moore, who I haven't done it for ages, but she has this course where it's amazing. By correcting your posture and getting your lymphatics moving, it can just change everything. And I have definitely developed a bit of under chin stuff going on, and I want to get it sorted out. But part of it I know is that my shoulders come far too far forward, and so she says in the morning, before you have a drink, before you do anything, just get your lymphatics going. So and it only takes a minute. It's 100 little jumps, and so I get off the loo, wash my hands, and then I do 100 little jumps, and it just gets your whole system moving in the morning. And so
I'm going to follow her.
But I think it's weird, isn't it? Because you do sort of become scared to do that. And my husband had to go and see the physio. I'm really sniffly today. Only in the last half an hour the window's open, so I'm very conscious because I can't bear sniffing on podcasts. So if you hear a little rustle, it's me with a tissue.
Bless you.
My husband went to see a physio a few years ago and about his knee, and he'd become nervous to use his knee because he needed knee surgery. And then the physio said, "You don't actually need knee surgery. I'm looking at you, and you're standing on one leg a lot of the time. You need to strengthen that knee." And part of the activities that you should be doing are things like jumping and sort of and like frog jumping and things like that, and that's the sort of those sort of playful things are what we lose, aren't they, as we get older and we become I remember when I used to run my drama school, there were a few steps outside and the kids would all run and jump off them. I remember one session we all stood there for ages and they were going, "Jump, Esther, jump," and every time I got up to the edge, my body would just hold me back. And actually walking down, we go over Clent Hills quite a lot to walk the dog, and there's a bit that you just have to sort of run down, and it's quite steep but it's not very big. And I'm an absolute old woman about it, and I've been there with friends and watched them stride down it, but the problem is I just visualize myself falling over, and so I become, and then you do get wobbly. So I've got they often go to take my hand and I go, no, I've just got to, I can't allow this to be my thing. I've got to get past this can't be who I am.
Yes, it's interesting that kind of because kids just go for stuff with their bodies, and I do feel like moving down here to the seaside, I've become more playful again.
Yes, I can imagine that,
because you can't help but be a bit playful on the beach, really, can you? Sort of frolic around. So I just like splashing around in the waves and bodyboarding with my own body.
Yes.
I don't have a bodyboard. I just have my own.
I've
chest.
got my own floating aids, Suze. They're just
You've got floating aids. I've got a bodyboard.
You've got a bodyboard. I've got a couple of very big lilos on the front of my chest.
You're fine. You're fine. Just watch you don't get, wafted out to sea. Well, have a lovely day.
Thank you.
And have a lovely day to you all listening to this.
We'll see you soon. All right, Bab.
Right, Bab.
You have been listening to Limited Time Only. Brief. Small but perfectly formed. Just like me.